What is up, everyone? JD here with another everyday carry video. I hope all of you are doing well out there today. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different from anything that I've done before on the channel, and that's kind of talk about what my top 5 carries for September was. So I did decide to go ahead and kind of keep track of it, mainly because I was curious, but also I kind of wanted to share with you guys what regularly makes it into my rotation. Let's go ahead and jump into the knives that I carried most in September of 2021. I want to go ahead and start out with a couple of honorable mentions because these guys were carried a lot, although they weren't in the top 5. So just a few, not too many. So I'm going to first start with the CIVIVI Imperium, which did get a lot of pocket time in September. It just missed out being in the top 5. So I do enjoy carrying this. This is probably one of my favorite releases from CIVIVI this year, and I really enjoy the fact that it has both thumb studs for deployment and it has the flipper tab, which is a lot of fun from a fidget perspective. And the other reason that it got a lot of carry time is because this can honestly flex a little bit into my office carry rotation, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through this list. So that's an honorable mention, but it didn't quite make it into the list. Another honorable mention is going to be my Benchmade Bugout with the Titanium Jade G10 micarta scales. Check out those scales from Titanium. These things are great. I really do like these scales. So much so that I have another set of these on another honorable mention, and this is going to be the last honorable mention before we jump into the actual top 5. And there's actually 2 tied because they actually had the same amount of carry time, and that is going to be the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, the JG10 scales from Titanium, and the Para 3. These 2 get a lot of carry in the evenings. I don't really carry these into the office because they're kind of intimidating, but as I'm breaking down boxes, opening packages and things, I find that I gravitate towards these quite often. Also, I do want to talk about the OCD for EDC little button that you can buy here for this knife, but I'll save that for another video. So those are all the honorable mentions out of the way. Let's go ahead and jump into the actual top 5 pocket EDC carry that I had for September 2021. And at number 5 is going to be a relatively new knife that I picked up, and that is going to be the QSP Penguin in Titanium. The Penguin has a 3.1 inch 154 cm blade. I opted for the coated blade because I do really enjoy that. It does have the titanium scales, which I think look really good. It isn't a frame lock. In the pivot, it does have bearings as opposed to the bronze washers that are in the baseline Penguin. And it does also have the milled titanium pocket clip, which I really do enjoy. When I carried this particular knife, what I was typically partnering it with or pairing it with was simply the SOG power pint here that you see off to the side, or sometimes I would rotate it with my Gerber dime, which I did not bring down here with me. Shame on me, I apologize. And typically how I'm carrying this, and I'm going to do a video about these pretty soon because I actually really enjoy them, is I usually pair it with my pen, and I'm putting it in the Art Company Grunt, so that way I can put it down in the pocket. I don't have to really worry about footprint too much, and this actually helps it stand up so it doesn't get that really odd side to side falling in the pocket. So this is going to be actually what I carried most of the knives to work in for this video, so I'm just going to leave that to the side so you guys can see what I'm actually carrying in. So number 5, QSP Penguin in Titanium. Coming in at number 4 is going to be my ZT0562 Rick Hinderer designed titanium pocket knife. This knife I carry a lot on the weekends. Like, I'm picking this up on the weekends a lot, sometimes in the evening. I really like this knife a lot. A lot of people are going to knock on that flipper tab, but for me, honestly, even though it does kind of stick up and it does kind of make it look a little bit odd in the footprint, but in all honesty, it's really no worse than the Para 3 or the Paramilitary 2 as far as print. I mean, even with that flipper tab, it's still not as bad as the Para 3, so that's saying something. Now, I know a lot of people also are going to probably say that it's a little awkward to use that particular flipper tab, but I think in this instance, because it is really smooth here, I don't have an issue. But also, I've gotten to the point where I've learned to light switch it, where I'm actually kind of, instead of doing this number, I'm kind of getting the tip of the finger in there, and I have no issues with flipping that. But it's a really good flat grind. It is the 3.5 inch 20 CV steel, and just again, really good looking knife. And I'm a little surprised that it was number 4, but it was really close for September, being that this is my my birthday is coming up here, and it was a little bit of an early present to myself. So that was number 4. At number 3, we have another knife that I'm not surprised made it into the top 5, and that is going to be the Buttonlock Elementum. This one is a 3.5 inch coated 14C 28N, which is another budget steel that I really like. I've really enjoyed the performance of it, the fidget of it. It's a very lightweight carry. It looks really good in the ARC Company Grunt pocket organizer that I picked up, and I typically just carry that with my all black Fisher Space Pen, so that's really blacked out. My Redeemed Creations black leather wallet with the red stitching to kind of give it a pop. And I usually carry the Gerber dime, or I may partner it, and that's why they're here, with my red Swiss Army knife carry, which I think is really nice. The G10 on this is really nice. I appreciate that G10 backspacer that CIVIVI put onto there. I think my only gripe is I kind of wish that the lanyard hole and the hardware here were blacked out on this particular one. I think that would look really good, but it's very small, barely noticeable when you're carrying it. Really like this knife. Matter of fact, I like my number 3 carry so much that I ended up going out and picking it up in the olive 2 carry with my OD green. So you may see that in next month's video a little bit more. So now the number 2 carry is kind of bittersweet for me. Number 2 is going to be the Hogue Doug Ritter, which a lot of folks say is basically like the Griptilian. I really love the ergonomics on this knife. This and the ZT share a lot of weekend duty because of the fact that they are a little bit bigger and a little bit more tactical. I'm not really carrying these in the office, but I am using these a lot, and you may be able to see some of the use on here, some of the scarring from where it gets used. I haven't had the ZT as much to use it, but the reason I mentioned that it was bittersweet is because I did have, at the beginning of the month, the Omega springs on this broke as well. I don't know what's going on with me and the Omega springs. I'm really not that hard on them when I fidget. I try to do the lightest closing motion that I can when I'm using that able lock, as Hogue calls it, but it's the crossbar lock from Bugout. It's the same thing, or the axis lock, sorry, from Hogue. Don't kill me in the comments. From Benchmade. Oh my gosh, what is going on with me today? But this was my number 2 carry. Part of the reason of that is because I didn't start using the ZT on the weekends until I got it, which was mid-September, and I really carried the 8010 and the Doug Ritter a lot. Gosh, I got a lot of black knives on the table. I'm just noticing that in my top 5. But it's a really good knife. The ergonomics are really good. It is a 3.44 inch 20 CV made in the USA, and it's very obtainable, very affordable. You can find this knife out on Knifework. The actual blade shape is really good for a lot of different duties and a lot of different tasks. And I'm not just carrying this at home on the weekends. I'm actually carrying this, you know, out and about when I'm doing things, because on the weekend I can kind of carry whatever I want. and I really appreciate that. So let me get some of these open on the table so you can see them before I get to the number one. I did warranty claim out the Doug Ritter. I forgot to mention that. And I am going to be using the Bugout as a baseline to kind of see how it performs with the aftermarket Omega Springs against the actual Doug Ritter with the factory warranty replacement springs. So again, number 5 was the QSP Penguin in titanium. Number 4 was the ZT in titanium, and I count that partially because of the fact that I didn't pick that up until mid-month as an early birthday present. I was not surprised by the fact that the Elementum button lock made it in here at the number 3. I really do enjoy that knife. Again, I enjoyed it so much I picked up a different variant color combination knife scale material because I wanted to see how that compared. But without any further delay, because I know I'm just rambling on, the number 1 carried knife for me in September 2021, the Spyderco Smock Blade HQ exclusive M4 black coated steel with the compression lock push button. This thing is so nice, and it is so much fun because you have the Spidey hole that you can finger flick for deployment. You have, I don't think, yep, lock. You have the compression lock that allows you to close it. You have the finger tab. I can even open it with the thumb using that flipper tab. This has quickly become one of my favorite knives to carry and fidget with. I really have enjoyed having it. I'm so glad that I was able to pick it up reasonably. I missed out on the exclusive drop. I got very fortunate. Someone actually, unfortunately for them, came across an emergency situation where they had to kind of unload, and apparently he had duplicates of this knife and decided to go ahead and sell it for about $10 over what they were going for at the drop, but that included shipping. So I don't know that I necessarily overpaid for this based on the drop price. But I have enjoyed this so much, and I don't intend to do anything to this knife. I'm going to leave it just like it came from the factory. But I am keeping an eye out to see when the base smock comes out, because I would be curious to kind of customize it. And it does look like a lot of manufacturers out there offer customized options for it. So that's my September carry. What do you think? Leave comments in the description. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. Maybe in October I'll try to follow it up a little bit, because I am noticing like the smock is the only thing that really has a pop of color here, and I didn't really realize that until I started to do this video. I had everything laid out, but with my other knives I have, you know, I have some color choices up in here. You know, I'm sitting over here with the baby banter in purple, and you know, the jade knives that I showed you that didn't quite make it in there do kind of break the coloring up a little bit, but I even have 4 of those. I didn't realize that I liked them so much that I had so many. Anyway, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I really appreciate all of the support. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Peace.